We're live.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Daniel Lustig with Pike and Lustig, and I am the chair of HISPAC, Hispanic Political Action Committee. And with me today, I have Mr. Santos Arroyo, Ms. Mirta Luaces, and Mr. Sam Roman, which represent La Guia News and the Puerto Rican Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, respectively. And we are all here today to talk to a couple candidates that are running for the West Palm Beach City Commission, District Number 2. And we going to speak today to Deandre Poole and Shalonda Warren. And we're going to have some questions from each of those candidates. And we're going to learn a little bit about who they are and why they're running for this particular seat. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the candidates, Dr. Deandre Poole and Ms. Shalonda Warren. If you would like to provide introductions for the voters so they know who you are, if we can start with Dr. Poole.
Good evening, and thank you, Daniel, and thank you to HISPAC for the invitation tonight. I'm looking forward to sharing with you all who I am and why I'm running for this position. First, let me say I'm Deandre Poole, candidate for City of West Palm Beach City Commission District 2. Corey Nearing is not seeking re-election, and I'm proud that Commissioner Nearing has endorsed me to fill his seat on the City Commission. I want to also let people know that I am a 27-year resident. I was born and raised in West Palm Beach, St. Mary's Hospital, and I grew up in a community known as Pleasant City. I am a homeowner in my district, and my wife and I are planning to raise our family here. So in terms of my professional background, I've been teaching at FAU for 10 years as a senior instructor in the School of Communication and Multimedia Studies. I earned a BA degree and a master's degree from FAU and a PhD degree from Howard University. I currently also serve as an adjunct at Palm Beach State College, at Miami-Dade College, and I also am the president of the faculty union at Florida Atlantic University. In terms of my community service work, I serve as the chairperson of the Criminal Justice Advisory Committee for the City of West Palm Beach. I also serve on the Sales Surtax Advisory Committee for the City of West Palm Beach. This particular committee has oversight over the sales tax money that the citizens voted on about 3 years ago. I'm also the secretary of the Scholastic Achievement Foundation of Palm Beach County, and I am the former chair of the Academic Advisory Committee for the School District of Palm Beach County. And I also want folks to know that as the next city commissioner, I will be an independent voice, and I will always represent the citizens and their concerns. My wife and I are just ecstatic for this opportunity to be in a position where we can be engaged and hands-on with the citizens. And in terms of my endorsements, I have been endorsed by Commissioner Nearing, as I said. I've been endorsed by former County Commissioner Paulette Burdick, Port Commissioner Catherine Waldron, Commissioner Joe Anderson, Commissioner Jean Enright. I've received the endorsement of the AFL-CIO union, and I am also, I've also been endorsed by the laborers and many other names that I look forward to sharing with you. And in terms of some of my core issues that I am running on to improve communication between the city and the residents, I also want to make sure that all neighborhoods across the city share in the success of the city. And I want to make affordable housing a priority and require that all contracts receive a fair process so that all citizens have the ability to live where they work and to be able to do work and do business with the city. And I also want to work to reduce crime in our communities and to increase more police officers on the street, as well as more firefighters. And to ensure that our school system, that we have A-rated schools. And these are just some of my core issues, and I will go ahead and turn it back over to Mr. Lester.
Thank you very much, Dr. Poole. And Ms. Warren, I'd like to give you an opportunity to also provide us with an introduction as to who you are and why you're running for the seat. And you'll have the same amount of time. I'm going to give you 3 minutes and 46 seconds to provide your introduction. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Shalonda Warren. I am a former military brat. I was born in East Chicago, Indiana, which is a steel mill industry. And my father joined the United States Air Force in order to take us out of the inner city and take us to give us the opportunity to travel throughout the world and to expose me to better opportunities. I am happy to have moved to Florida approximately 30 years ago in 1990. And the majority of that time, I have lived in the West Palm Beach area, Wellington, and sometime in Riviera Beach as well. I have continued to serve the community for the entire time that I've lived here. I have a background in banking. I've been a banking center manager. I've been a business development officer. I have been a regional sales and service manager. I have also worked in patient support services, and most recently, I am the CEO of the Sickle Cell Foundation of Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast, which covers a 5-county area servicing vulnerable populations and working to reduce Black infant mortality and closing disparity gaps. Through the work that I have done, I've gained tremendous experience as it relates to making difficult decisions, running a business, being able to manage and approve budgets, working with partners and building consensus, building relationships that help us move our agenda forward, recognizing the importance of collaboration to ensure that things happen and we get the results that we seek. I have served on many organizations throughout the city, and I'm a founding member of the Black Village Voice Political Action Committee. I'm a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, West Palm Beach chapter. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters, Unify, Coalition of Black Student Achievement. I am a member of the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. I am a member of the Florida Restoration of Rights Coalition. I've served the city through the Lambert Advisory Committee, which reviewed the Stull and Lee report in order to recognize opportunities to enhance the work that is being done in the city. I have been appointed as the Minority and Women Business Enterprise participant to the Construction Oversight Review Committee for the Palm Beach County School District. I was appointed by Dr. Deborah Robinson because she knew that we needed a strong voice to represent minorities as it related to contracts. I have been appointed to Art in Public Places by former Mayor Jerry Moyo, which in the Art in Public Places is now called Art Life. And I have been retained to continue to serve the city under Keith James's administration. I am very proud to say that I do have the endorsement of former Mayor Jerry Moyo. I have the endorsement of Mayor Keith James, Commissioner Christina Lambert, Commissioner Christy Fox, School Board Member Dr. Deborah Robinson, School Board Member Ayana. I am endorsed by Katrina Long Robinson, the Vice Mayor of Westlake. I'm also endorsed by former City Commissioner Ike Robinson, former City Commissioner Sylvia Moffitt. I am endorsed by State Senator Bobby Powell, and I am also endorsed by County Commissioner Mac Bernard, in addition to the Chamber of Commerce of Palm Beaches, the Economic Council, and many others, many others, including Councilman Doug Lawson, Councilman Trodrick McCoy. All of these people have placed their faith in me as their candidate to support for the city of West Palm Beach. And I'm also happy to say that although Corey Nearing has endorsed Deandre Poole, when I asked Corey Nearing who he thought would be the best commissioner to replace him in District 2, Corey Nearing said that that person is Shalonda Warren.
Ms. Warren, I have to move on because we went over the introduction time and we have a tight schedule. So we're gonna open up with questions. Hi, everybody. We're gonna open up with questions as it relates to what we HISPAC are looking for prior to endorsing a candidate. So if you don't mind, the first question will come from Ms. Mirta Luaces, who is a writer and reporter at La Guia News. Mrs. Luaces, do you have a question for the candidates?
I just want to thank you both for being here tonight. And I know both of you have been concerned about the housing, affordable housing in the city, but that's not the only problem we are having right now. We are having problem with the transportation, especially in the downtown area. And on the areas close to the downtown, that the only means of transportation is either by car, because there is no public transportation accessible from like the area south of Okeechobee, in between Okeechobee and Southern Boulevard or Forest Hill, and to go to the downtown area. What are you planning to do, and how can we solve that problem?
And I guess we'll keep
The question is for both, so I don't know which one.
we'll start with Dr. Poole because he started the introduction.
Thank you for the question. I will say that transportation is a big problem, and it does contribute to the economic inequality of people in our city, especially those individuals who depend on transportation to get to jobs that are in other cities and other parts of the county. I think that in terms of what I will do is I will use every tool possible as the next city commissioner to advocate. Oftentimes when it comes to the local bus system, the county has purview over that. However, I think having a collaborative relationship with the county commission would be a step in that direction to address what can we do to increase bus routes. What can we do to identify other forms of downtown transportation? Do we need to put more trolleys on the streets? Do we need to expand the trolley route? So those are just two of the things I would do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate my opponent talking about what he would do. I would love to tell you about what I have already done. When I have worked with the city and in an advisory capacity, we recognize that the lack of transportation, lack of available, accessible transportation served as a barrier to keep people from being able to participate in downtown activities. And in some cases, it prevented people from having ready access to food, also contributing to some of the food deserts that we've seen. What I have done is I have worked with the city to identify that there were gaps in transportation and was successful in getting them to expand the trolley route. Previously, they stopped at 3rd and Rosemary, although I do know that what you're speaking about specifically is in reference to Okeechobee. What I've already done, when the trolley route, which is within the city's control, and that's really the primary thing that I can speak to, I can look for other opportunities to work with the county, but within the city's control, the trolley stopped at Banyan and Rosemary and then went across to Tri-Rail. I was successful with a group of others in extending the trolley route from Banyan to 3rd and Rosemary, and then going across 3rd to include people from the community, to give them the opportunity to board the trolley and be able to participate in activities downtown, particularly to be able to gain access to Publix and to fresh food and produce and things that they needed for their daily life. So I know that there are opportunities that we can have as long as we have advocates that are able to speak to the city and gain consensus. We can look at results. It is important important that as we look at advocates, we look at advocates that have the ability to unify and work towards resolving issues. And that certainly is one that warrants us addressing and extending.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Any rebuttal? Dr. Poole?
No, we both said the same thing. We said the same thing. She claimed she worked to expand the route. I talked about expanding the trolley route as well. So there's nothing, we didn't say anything different. So I don't have any further to say to add to it.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Warren?
Yes, I would like to respond. We did not say the same thing. Dr. Poole talked about what he would like to do. I talked about what I've already done.
Okay, so how do you find time to everything that you list that you've done in terms of your city involvement? Who were these individuals that you work with? Because one of the things that I want people to understand, when you say I, and you talk about collaborative, then you need to talk about these other individuals. This is not about me. This is all about a group effort. And I think that we just need to make sure that we are being honest.
Well, I'm glad that you're taking control of the dialogue here, Mr. Poole. But when I say I am the person that's running. So that is the I that I'm referring to. It is obvious that it would require collaboration, which is why
Yes.
I spoke of
And
collaboration.
thank you for pointing that out. That's all I wanted to make sure.
But
Thank
it does require the ability to build consensus and to ensure that the outcomes are achieved. And that, sir, is what I'm speaking to.
And you as well, ma'am. I'm saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. The next question will come from Mr. Santos Arroyo, and he is with the Florida Hispanic American Chamber of Commerce, which I misspoke earlier. So, Mr. Arroyo.
Yes. The question to both of you, we're gonna have Mrs. Shalonda Warren answer this question first. Do you consider that the mayor's task force on racial and ethnic equity to be needed, and why?
Absolutely, and so did the mayor. And I commend the mayor for appointing Jose Talega as the liaison for the Hispanic community, because we recognize that there are a lot of barriers that we face, and quite often we know that that language is a barrier, and language stops people from participating in very needed resources and tools. So I'm happy to see that the mayor has made a conscious effort to bridge gaps. And I do believe that there's a lot more that we can do, but I'm happy to see that the initial steps have been done. I am happy that the city is open to expanding the relationship and ensuring that there's inclusivity. We would love to see that there's inclusion with all minorities, which is why I work very hard to ensure that we focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and why I work to bridge the gap and to make sure that we are addressing language barriers and recognizing the contribution that all of our citizens make to our city, and how the inclusion and embracing of different people and their origins benefits us as a whole. So yes, I'm very happy to see that this is happening, and I'm looking forward to the continued progress.
Thank you, Dr. Poole.
Yes, I will also say to that question that I think it's a step in the right direction. We still have more that needs to be done in this city as it pertains to engagement with the Hispanic community. I want to see more Hispanic individuals serve on boards and committees in this city. I also want to see more Hispanics serve in public office. I think that there is an opportunity. This organization is extremely important to the Hispanic community because it's focused on engagement, political advocacy. And I think that as this particular task force is up and running, I think it is important that this group in particular stay on top of it to make sure that whatever policies come out will address the concerns that Hispanics which represent a large group in West Palm Beach, that it will address the needs of the Hispanic community.
Thank you.
Any rebuttal?
Yes, I would also like to add that it is unfortunate that in the face of COVID and the devastation that it has wreaked on our community, that public vaccines and the information has not been provided in Spanish. I will work very hard to make sure that we overcome those language barriers and that we do everything that we can to ensure that that material, important material, is translated into Spanish so that everyone that needs access can receive information, especially life-saving information like this.
Thank you. Any rebuttal from?
Yes, I would also add, I've had that same conversation with folks around the city who have said that it's been a big disappointment that they don't feel that the city has paid a lot of attention to making sure they had information with COVID, even vaccinations. I know that there are people who live in West Palm who've driven to Broward to get vaccinated. And that's something that we can't have that in the flagship city in the county, the flagship city, a city of 11,000 plus people. We should not have our citizens driving to another county to get vaccinated.
Thank you. Next question will come from Mr. Sam Roman with La Guia News as well. Mr. Roman?
Yes, hi guys. Thank you. Once again, I want to echo Mirta Luace's welcoming and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for being here with us. I just have two questions. Before your election, before running for campaign, how, and you both have a very intense background, as you pointed out in your opening statements. How have you been involved, or have you involved the Hispanic community in those efforts within your history? And how are you reaching out to the Hispanic community so they can know about your platform once elected? Either of you could start.
I'll start. A lot of my advocacy has been for minority and women business enterprises, and that includes Black and Brown minorities. So it has not been separated in any way. Everything that I've done has been inclusive of the different groups. I have also done everything in my role as the CEO of the Sickle Cell Foundation to ensure that every bit of material that I have, every literature, everything that we produce as an agency is also in Spanish. And we have worked very hard to ensure that we've had a Spanish-speaking member or someone that we have immediate access to help with translation whenever translation is needed. I have worked with Christina Lambert, Commissioner Christina Lambert, and been invited to participate in events on the South End that do include the Hispanic community. And I know that there's a huge Spanish-speaking population that a huge Spanish-speaking population that she lives in, and she has certainly been my link to the Hispanic community. And I'm looking to work with her more as we move forward in the city. And I'm appreciative of the relationship that we have, because we know that it's imperative that we work together in order to make sure that we have everything that we need for all of our citizens.
Yes, over the past several years, I've worked closely with Dr. Joaquin Garcia of the Hispanic Education Coalition and Dr. Carlos Diaz. There are three initiatives that we have worked on. One, I served as chair of the Coalition for Black Student Achievement for about 5 years. And in that time, our organization, along with the Hispanic Education Coalition, advocated for the disparity study that the school district conducted. And that disparity study showed that Hispanic students and Black students, especially males, lag behind their white counterparts. We work together to serve on hiring committees to ensure that folks hired for key positions that pertain to equity and access diversity and inclusion were people who understood the issues impacting the Hispanic community. I also worked with Dr. Diaz to push back against my employer. The College of Education at FAU wanted to do away with multicultural education to make to change the course from a required course to an elective course. And if you change in this particular course, was required for elementary majors, people going to Palm Beach County schools who are working with Hispanic students in particular, and Black students, to provide them with the skills necessary to understand the language barriers, to understand the other issues. And by changing this course from a required course to a elective course, would have did a disservice to these teachers who were engaging our students. We pushed back and we won that. We saved that course, and we also saved the Office for Hispanic and African American Studies at the Palm Beach County School District. We advocated to save that office when the superintendent at the time was thinking about closing it. In terms of my continued involvement, I'll work with HISPAC, I'll work with the Hispanic, Democratic Hispanic group. I'll work with every Hispanic group in the city to ensure that Hispanic citizens get the services that they need. And I'll also end by saying this: I serve as chair of the Criminal Justice Advisory Committee for the city. And one of the things that we've done is we've held town halls and at different places in the city to address issues that residents have been having. And the language barrier was a big piece. So we would have officers who were bilingual, who would speak with the Spanish-speaking residents, and then those that spoke English, because the language barrier was an issue. But by doing that, it helped the police department and my committee understand the issues that they were having, and the police department was able to address those issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And
May I?
sure. Yeah, sure.
I would also like to say that it's important that we are on the ground, that we're at the grassroots level dealing with issues immediately. We recognize language being a barrier, and we know that what I can say is that of the city's Minority and Women Business Enterprise Program, the MWBE program that was recently implemented, of the 111 businesses that are registered, only 18 of those businesses are Hispanic. Of the 342 small business enterprises for the city, only 27 of those businesses are owned by people that are Hispanic. We recognize that when people have a language barrier, we have to be able to offer opportunities to them that are close to home. We need to increase the number of people that are participating in these programs, because that increases the number of people that are able to employ our Hispanic citizens right where they are, and to bring the jobs and the opportunities to them, because that's where they need them the most.
Thank you very much. And again, I'm Daniel Lustig with Pike and Lustig, and I just have a question about your district. You know, this district in which you're running for that seat is a, I mean, you have Okeechobee Boulevard, that it's you know, very busy business. You have dealerships, small businesses, restaurants. Then you have Palm Beach Lakes with a bunch of businesses, big companies, the outlet mall. So there's a lot of places for employment in those areas. And then you have a significant portion of your district involves residential areas, homes. So my question to you would be, what is it that you believe you can do better than, or that what can you do if you run for office to persuade the other candidates? So I'm sorry, the other commissioners in the city to agree to your agenda that you may be running for today, which may include, discussions on Hispanic interest or, African American interest, literature in Spanish for government issued literature, in to ensure that the residents and the businesses located within your area that you'll be representing are actually properly represented by you. So I can start with Ms. Brown.
Shalonda Warren for City of West Palm.
Sorry, Warren, I apologize. It's late. I've been in meetings all day. I apologize.
I'm here to help. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for the question. I currently do a lot of things to support small businesses. One of them is I host a monthly networking mixer. Pre-COVID, I've hosted a monthly networking mixer where we have invited all of the small businesses in the community to come out and participate. I also do something that is a cash mob where we go out into the community and we celebrate small businesses. I have between the two of us, between the two candidates, I can say that I have the endorsement of the mayor. I have the endorsement of Christina Lambert. I have the endorsement of Christy Fox, people that are already sitting on the dais and the people that are making decisions. I have a great relationship with them, so there's no question about consensus. We have worked together collaboratively on other issues, and inclusion is not different. Inclusion is already conversation that we're having. This is not a new thing that we're approaching. This is something that we're embracing and where they know and expect me to be a strong voice in the Black community. And they know that I'll be a strong voice in the community because of my track record and the things that they've seen me support. So I'm looking forward to complementing this dais. It's going to be amazing because this is really one of the first times that I've seen the dais working together to move the city forward. I'm looking forward to being a part of something like that. I'm looking forward to being a part of the collaboration, the cohesiveness, and the importance of prioritizing people, prioritizing our citizens over politics. So if that's what you would like to see, then I'm certainly the candidate for you. I am the person that is looking for your vote. Again, my name is Shalonda Warren, and I am the unifying voice. I am not divisive. I will work very hard to make sure that we as a city move forward and continue the progress that we've seen happen thus far.
Thank you very much. Dr. Poole.
Thank you for the question. I will say that all of the issues you pointed out, I think these are the concerns of all of the commissioners. I would even say the mayor. I think part of what has to be done, even on the commission, do commissioners know everything? No, but I think it starts with getting out into the community, visiting these places. When people come up to give public comment and they're talking about these issues, unless you get out there and you see it for yourself, you're hands-on, you're engaged, you won't know. And I think oftentimes that's what happens. We get in, people get elected, and sometimes they forget why they're there. But I do think the city commissioners care about these issues and care about these concerns. I would also add that through education, educating the public, some of the people I've talked to across the city have felt that their voice has not been heard. They have felt that have become somewhat disenchanted with the political process. And what I've said to them is, listen, don't give up. You can't give up. As a grassroots organizer, as someone who chose a career outside of, I'm not anti-corporate world, but I chose a career outside of the corporate world because in the corporate world, you have to think one way. But I am motivated by people and the needs of people, making sure the needs of people are met. Now, in terms of the endorsements that Ms. Warren has, she rolls with a different group of people. And so do I. I roll with a different group of people as well. And I am endorsed by a list of people who believe in my leadership. And one of those individuals is Corey Nearing. And she said earlier that he said she would be the best candidate. That's not true. Call Commissioner Nearing and ask him for yourself. In terms of, there's a difference between being a strong voice and an independent voice. The people that endorsed her, they didn't endorse me. I'm endorsed by everyday men and women in this city who understand the challenges of what we are up against. And if we lose the independent voice on this commission, then I'm afraid that that independent voice will not be there anymore. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very much.
Say to that question.
Any rebuttal?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes, Mr. Poole spoke about the commission and listening to the voice of the people. I would love to hear how many commission meetings Mr. Poole has attended in the last year, 6 months, 5 years. I know the members of the commission because I am present and I pay attention and I ensure that my voice is heard and that they understand my perspective. So if that results in me being endorsed by them, then I'll take that stripe because it's important for me to be the voice
Yeah.
of the community,
Yeah.
which I have done. And when I say that I attend commission meetings regularly, I do. I have arranged meetings with the commissioners that are one-on-one. And the commissioners have recognized me as a community liaison because I serve as the consultant for the largest public-private partnerships that we've seen in our CRA in the history of the city of West Palm Beach as it relates to the Northwest neighborhood and some of our historically blighted communities. So as that liaison, I have worked very hard to foster great relationships that benefit our community. And that, sir, comes from being present so that your voice is actually heard.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Warren, you say you serve as a consultant and a liaison. Were you paid? Were you paid in your capacity?
Consultants are paid, yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
okay. So when you have gone to speak at city commission meetings, were you paid to go
No, I
speak
was
on
never.
projects?
And that's an awful insinuation. That's an awful insinuation. I
Well,
was
you
not paid to attend.
said that you were a consultant and a liaison, and you also said you've been paid.
I think it's my turn to rebut because you had the floor.
I don't have any more to say.
I'm glad that you do not. When I have volunteered my time to attend those committee meetings, that is how I established those relationships. That was not in a paid capacity. And I think that is as unfair of you to say. It's just dirty politics. When I have forged those relationships, that was because I am a concerned citizen, because I'm an advocate, and because I have been out fighting a good fight. So to say that I was paid for that, you're wrong. And for me being a consultant, I was chosen as the consultant because they recognized my presence. That's the sole reason that I was selected. There are other consultants in the city. I was selected because I stand up for people.
All right, thank you very much. I think we're going to go into closing arguments, and you each, as discussed earlier, prior to our forum starting, you're going to have 2 minutes each.
Mr. Pagan joined us, so I'm not sure if Mr. Pagan has a question.
Well, good evening, everybody. My apologies for being, but I was in another meeting, with this Zooming, you got to be Zooming here and there all the time. I'll open up a question for both of you, because I know one of you are running for District 2, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and when you look at the population of Hispanic District 2, it's quite a number, it's really big. And then not only that, when we look at the data from the 2020 census, what they're looking at the whole data, in particular in Palm Beach County, they're looking at a growth of the Hispanic population by a big amount. In the previous census, which is the one in 2010, Hispanic population was barely something like 18%. Now we get to the 2020 census, projections by the Atlanta office, on the census is like a Hispanic population is going to be between 35%, maybe 40% in the county. So that's a big jump right there. And one of the things that we have noticed here, and I've been a resident of this county for many, many years, I don't want to talk about age. So it is about how the growth of the Hispanic population has really jumped. Mm-hmm. And typically politicians just quote unquote use them, get on board, and then I forget about you. So how do you intend to approach, the multicultural population that you have in District 2. During the election and after the election, regardless of who gets elected.
All right, Dr. Poole.
I have experience working with Raymond Morales. I worked with John Ramos and Claudia Mendoza. These are people who I've got to know over the years who have been very active in the Hispanic community in terms of organizing and supporting Hispanic candidates for office and actually recruiting. One of the things that you have my word on is I will work to identify, to train, to engage Hispanic residents in District 2, to help them understand issues going on in the city. Because when I'm on the dais, I'm going to need them to help inform me of their issues and things that I might not be aware of going on. And I think it starts with, again, grassroots people. And I have a background in working to build Hispanic groups with these other individuals I mentioned. And that's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I will continue to do. It's something I spent upwards of 18 years doing in my former capacity as vice chair of the County Democratic Party. And I will continue to do that work. And it does require working collaboratively with other people. And I think that right now, as you say, the Hispanic population is a force to be reckoned with. And I think we need to do everything we can to help increase their political participation and political engagement, political involvement.
Thank you, Dr. Poole. Ms. Warren.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when when things are done from a political perspective in order to get people out to vote, and then citizens feel abandoned thereafter. I have worked very hard to ensure accountability as it relates to elected officials. As my role as a founding member of Black Village Voice, we've hosted political forums. We've done very much what you all are doing here this evening, where we've brought the candidates out and we've asked candidates questions, very important questions, and we brought candidates directly to the community so that people would have a direct access to them and be able to ask their questions. And as part of that, we believe in accountability, and we have filmed different forums to go back to the candidates after they've run, to talk to them about what they've actually achieved and how they've been able to move the needle forward. It is unfortunate when we hear people say what they're going to do before they run with no true intention of seeing that happen. So I can assure you, based on what I have done historically, that I would not be the person that would solicit votes based on empty promises. I have been working with Hispanic counterparts. I plan to continue that work. I know the importance of consensus. I know the importance of collaboration, and I certainly intend to continue to do that as we move our communities forward.
Thank you very much. And any rebuttal?
No.
All right. So we're going to go to closing now, and each of you is going to have 2 minutes to close. And I'll start with Dr. Warren.
Thank you for calling me Dr. Warren. It's just Shalonda.
Sorry, not Warren.
Hey, it's okay. I, again, I'm a mother. I am a business owner. I am a community advocate. I am a CEO. I know that these things are very important and have taught me a tremendous amount throughout my 51 years. And I am looking forward to bringing all of the diversity of my background to the city of West Palm Beach. I am looking forward to embracing the kinetic work that I've done, the real work that I've done out in the community, supporting the citizens and representing them on the dais. I am looking forward to working within different organizations that include the Haitian community. the Hispanic community, and those that have often felt marginalized and underserved. I know that quite often we look at wealth as a barrier, and I plan to do everything that I can to overcome those wealth gaps, to overcome those opportunity gaps, and to again, be a unifier for our city. We have seen enough division in our country and in our parties and in our cities that it is time now for us to begin to heal. It is time now for us to work together. I support Dr. Poole in all of his endeavors, and I will continue to support the city as we do everything that we can to build, to heal from COVID, and to provide the programs and resources that are necessary for our citizens so that they can live their best life and have their highest quality of life. So when you select somebody that is going to show you that they're doing the things that they've said they were going to do, when you are selecting a candidate that has a proven record, when you're selecting a candidate that has shown up time and time again, even when it was unpopular and made tough decisions for our community, when you're looking for somebody that has been the minority and women enterprise participant, when you're looking for somebody that understands blight and understands being underserved, then I'm your candidate. My name again is Shalonda Warren, and I'm running for District 2. I am asking for your support. I am asking for your endorsement because I do believe that I will be your partner in continuing to unify our city.
Thank you, Ms. Warren.
Thank you.
Dr. Poole.
Thank you. Thank you again to HISPAC, and thank you to all of you for the invitation tonight. Let me just say that as a native of West Palm Beach, 27-year resident, I know, I can recall as a kid, not knowing who my commissioner was, not knowing who the mayor was. I knew my neighborhood, we had blight. I knew my neighborhood was not as clean as others when I would drive through other neighborhoods in the city. And I said, one day I'm going to do something about this. One day I'm going to be in a position where I can make a difference in my community. I've demonstrated that my work with the Criminal Justice Advisory Committee as chairperson. Mayor James appointed me to another 2-year term. I demonstrated that when Jerry Moyo appointed me originally to the Criminal Justice Advisory Committee and appointed me to the Sales Surtax Advisory Committee, and I continue to serve on that committee under Mayor James. And in terms of my endorsement, I'm proud that Commissioner Corey Nearing has endorsed me. And as I call around the city, the people, what they say to me mostly is, will you be an independent voice? Will you be an independent voice? And I explained to them, yes, I will. And Commissioner Nearing was well liked by so many people across the city. And it is my hope that I will receive your endorsement and endorsement of the vote of those watching tonight to continue to walk in Commissioner Nearing's footsteps as that independent voice. I don't see and view this position as a permanent position. It's seasonal in that I'm just here to complete my term, to complete my tour of duty, to represent the citizens in the city. That frees me up to be that independent voice. That frees me up to be that independent voice. So absentee ballots have gone out this week. If you've received your absentee ballot, please, I ask for your vote, Deandre Poole, and we will, and this is not a empty promise, but I will represent you well, and I will be hands-on in the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that concludes our forum tonight for HISPAC. I want to thank the Florida Hispanic American Chamber of Commerce. And I want to thank Laguia News for also participating and being one of the promoters of the event. And the Florida Hispanic American Chamber of Commerce, like I stated, and Pike and Lustig LLP. And obviously HISPAC, the Hispanic Political Action Committee. thank you very much for being here tonight and have a great night.